This episode of Digital Photography Cafe is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera, and by Daisy Grip, for a child's smile for a photographer's camera.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe. I'm Trevor Current, your digital marketing guy.
And I'm Joseph Christina, your professional photographer.
So grab a latte, pull up a chair, and join us as we chat about the art and business of photography.
So hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Last week we talked about some tools to calculate the number of shutter releases on your camera body, smartphone usage stats, and gave some suggestions on what lenses you should use. If you haven't listened to last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it on iTunes, listen in your car through Stitcher Radio, or simply head over to the website, digitalphotographycafe.com, and listen online.
So Joe, we are back, episode 63.
That's right, 63. Awesome.
How's your week been?
Pretty good. We're hanging in there. It's the summer doldrums, so we're getting a lot of little projects that we've been meaning to do, what you can't do in the winter when you're just packed busy.
Yep.
We're doing some of that stuff. So
excellent. That's good. We just got back from a few days at the Jersey Shore.
Nice.
The place we go is really, really nice. It's really a nice, quaint Victorian town. Great family place to be. But man, it was hot. It was like 95 degrees and 100% humidity. It was just nasty.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, you know
Felt
what?
like Florida weather, man.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're complaining. This is the way it is all the time here. Yeah. I got into my car. It said like 103 and the humidity was like, God, it's just awful.
Yeah.
But that's all right. So, I think we have a great show for everyone. This week we got an interesting comment through Twitter regarding a kind of an interesting question. What do you think about the D800 in comparison to a Hasselblad? So that should be an interesting little conversation. But before we get into that, all right, we got some other stuff to take care of.
Yeah, like our video show in iTunes.
That's right.
Still continuing to climb. We were number 15 at the time of the recording. So that's 15. Pretty cool. We're moving up, on up.
Like the Jeffersons.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It's exciting. 15.
Yeah. No, this is really cool. We're really pleased with the growth of the video part of the show right now. We want to really thank you guys a lot. And if you're not subscribed to the video, we would really, really love your help. Basically, what we want to do is we really want to get in the new and noteworthy category under the arts in iTunes.
Right.
But to do that, you've got to have a lot of subscriptions kind of like all at once. And that's what happened with our audio show, like over a year ago. Like within like a week, we were up in the new and noteworthy. So it was fantastic. And we're looking to do the same thing with the video. We'd really love to be up in the new and noteworthy by like Monday, August 6th. iTunes seems to kind of do their thing every couple weeks. Right. And that would be like 2 weeks out. That would be perfect. We would love to get in there. So what we're asking all of our listeners a big favor. We just shy of pleading. But we would love for you guys.
We'll do that next.
We'll do that next. We'll do that next week.
Right.
We'd love for you guys to head over to iTunes and just subscribe to the video. Get the couple downloads, watch them too. We try and add some extra content into the video that you're not getting on the audio as far as visuals go. So, we'd love for you to check them out if you're not already, and it would really, really help us a lot. So definitely would appreciate that.
Yeah, so you could either go into iTunes and type in, like, for example, Digital Photography Cafe, and we'll pop right up there, and you'll see both audio and video. Subscribe to both if possible, but we definitely want you to subscribe to video.
Yep.
The alternative is just go to digitalphotographycafe.com, and then we'll have a little link that you just click on there, and it'll take you straight into your iTunes and be able to subscribe there. So we'll make it as easy as pie.
Yes, that is always our goal. We like pie.
Right. No, we love pie. I know, you were asking me the other day, hey, what do you use to track up and down time with your website? So, I was telling you about Pingdom, was one of them that I used. And then you were doing some research and you found one also that now I'm subscribed to. So
called Varello. Yeah,
Varello.
so
Yeah, that's
basically
right.
what this does, anybody that's running a website, okay, which is probably everybody that's listening, sometimes your website goes down. It just stops working.
For some of us, like me, that happens more often than it should. But yeah,
more often than you'd like, for sure. Sometimes your website goes down. Now, with many photographers who basically have an online portfolio, who may not be real actively blogging, may not be on the website daily or even weekly for that matter,
right.
Your website could potentially be down and you would never know about it unless you're going in there on a regular basis. Well, services like pingdom.com, and that's pingdom.com, and Varello, which is verelo.com. Basically, what you can do is you can sign up for these free accounts, and you can actually put in the URL of your website, and you can put in your email address, and you can set it to basically ping your server every 60 seconds, every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, once an hour, that type of thing, to make sure that it's online. If it goes down on one of those checks, it checks it again, checks it a third time. If it confirms that it's down, it sends you an email letting you know it's down, and then you go, oh crap, I didn't know it was down.
You're calling,
and then you can call your support and get it back up and running.
Right. The cool thing here is too that not only can it email you, but you can set it up to send you a message on your phone, an SMS, which is
text message,
which is great. The other thing that's interesting is not only can it ping to check to see up and down time on your server, let's say on port 80 or which is your quote unquote website as such, you can have it actually check like your database port. You can have it check, your TCP port or check whatever. For me, I was having a lot of problems with sending mail out. So my SMTP was going down port. So I would sit there and I would just constantly ping that, and I would see when that was going down, and I'd be able to call and say, listen, SMTP is down again, and they'll go in there and say, okay, is it, secure or is it the insecure, whatever. And the same thing with IMAP. A lot of us, we use IMAP instead of popping mail off the server. We leave it on the server. Well, IMAP account, you have port 143 for your insecure and 993 for your secure. So you can say, listen, I want you to monitor port 993, my SSL secure IMAP port. And it'll sit there and do that. And whenever that's down, it'll send you an SMS, it'll send you an email. Just really cool. So not only is it your website, your port 80, your, HTTP, but it can also do other ports too. So it's really cool. And these things are free.
They're free,
get upgraded
free
stuff.
That's my favorite
Free
kind.
is great. Free is for me.
Yeah, they're free. You can get some really great features with the basic free plan. And then, of course, you can upgrade to the paid plans. You can get more checks. You can check multiple websites and things like that. So it really gives you a lot of options. Really cool. Definitely worth getting.
Yeah. Got it. It's good stuff, so to speak.
Yes. Very good. And also, we want to give some shout outs. We had a couple of our fans this week that posted some great things on their blogs about us. So we wanted to give a big shout out to Roar from photoroar.com for a great article that he wrote about Digital Photography Cafe on his blog. And he's been a real like a longtime fan of the show. I've been tweeting with him for a long time, and and then also with through DPC's account and stuff. So we really want to thank him for his support and his recommendations of the show. It's really great.
Yeah, that's great. And there's one other one, right?
Yeah. Stephen Lott. He recommended us on his website at stopsandmore.blogspot.com. And he also mentioned our sponsor Daisy Grip in a post. So that's also very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, that's really great. Whenever see, what's really neat is when it's out there and they're saying, oh, we love you, or we love the show, or whatever. That helps us. Not only does it help with traffic and both bi-directional, but it also helps us to say, okay, there's someone out there listening and they're appreciating what we're doing, and and we're still charging the same price of nothing.
Yeah,
so
our favorite number of free, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's really, really cool. And now we're going to have that friends of the show page. So whenever someone does this for us, we're going to put them in there. So it's kind of, we add a link back to their site. So, linking back and forth definitely helps, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we greatly appreciate you writing about us on your sites and linking into us. I mean, yes, just from an SEO standpoint, which we always talk about, that's fantastic. We greatly appreciate it. We really appreciate all the support. And as a way to say thank you, we want to give back too. Digital Photography Cafe is a, pretty popular website. We have some good rankings out there and stuff. Right. And we would like to give you guys links back. Not saying, as a link exchange per se.
Sure.
We're basically creating a Friends of the Show page where, we can add information in. It's like a resource page, let's say, Right. And you guys writing about us in a blog post is fantastic.
Yeah.
So
we appreciate
we definitely,
it,
if you want to do that, we definitely would greatly appreciate that. And be sure to drop us a tweet in Twitter or something, or send us an email. Let us know that you posted something so we can go check it out.
Yeah. So we'll give you a shout out on the show, verbally, visually, or whatnot. Right. And then, of course, we'll stick you on the Friends of the Show page. So that's cool. But this show, we had a lot of questions this week.
We got quite a few this week.
Yeah, a lot of questions. So I think we're going to do a lot of question answering this show. But I tell you what, before we get to the first question, let's go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor.
Have you ever tried to photograph a child who was on the move and wouldn't settle down? A child who just wouldn't give your camera the time of day no matter what tricks you tried? If so, we have some great news for you. Introducing the Daisy Grip, your go-to tool for capturing a child's smile.
Just think of the Daisy Grip as your third hand. Just place it into your camera's hot shoe, insert the child's favorite toy or puppet, and let the smiles begin. Imagine the storytelling magic that you'll have at your disposal with a ferocious lion or a friendly monster sitting on top of your camera. For the ultimate attention getter, place your smartphone into the Daisy Grip and play the child's favorite cartoon.
With the addition of a Daisy Grip bracket, you can free up your hot shoe for a flash or wireless transmitter.
Let Daisy Grip put the space above your lens to work for you. Make this indispensable tool your new best friend. Head over to daisygrip.com/DPC to get the listener discount.
The Daisy Grip, for a child's smile, for a photographer's camera. So we received a great question from one of our Twitter friends. His name is Paul, and he's at YoPaulieNJ.
Love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yo, Paulie. Yeah.
So he asked, can you recommend a bag for a Nikon DSLR and, no lens change? And he's just using a 25 to 300
right.
millimeter. And he also wants to be able to put an iPad in the bag.
Right.
So, he's not loading up with a lot of lenses and flashes and stuff. He's basically got a camera body with a lens, and he wants to, put an iPad in there. And if we had any recommendations, and of course we do.
Yeah. I guess the caveat to this is he wants to kind of bring it along with him on vacation. So, as soon as you say vacation, you kind of change it just a little bit. For me, the best camera bag is the most minimalistic camera bag, is the camera bag that actually fits just the junk that you're bringing, and that's it. Nothing,
just the
nothing more.
necessities.
Yeah, I don't want any hollow space at all. This is just bulk that you don't want to take with you.
Yep.
So for me, whenever I do something like this, and I'm not going to be changing lenses, I'm not, it's just going to be a camera, a body, a lens, iPad, which is really small. For me, I really like the Low Pro Exchange Messenger, and it's basically just like a messenger bag. It's very, cheap, but the quality is really good, and it's just enough For me, I can actually fit into it camera body, a lens, as well as a flash, and the iPad. So, for me, that's enough. You can put in some extra batteries, some cards, and you're off to the races.
You're good to go. Yeah.
You don't need anything
Yeah, I've
more.
seen that bag. I've seen you with that bag, and that is a nice bag. It's a nice compact bag. It's really good. I really like the Tenba line of backpacks.
Right.
I've got a couple Tenba bags myself, and they have this one. It's called a Discovery Mini Photo / Tablet Day Pack. So it's a backpack. It's a more compact backpack, and it's got a zipper pouch in the back where you can slide an iPad or a laptop or something like that down inside of it. It's got a zipper compartment on the bottom that really holds, the body with a lens, and there's like a little bit of space so you could stick something else in there. Right. And then it's got a zipper compartment on the top where you can put, your lunch or whatever. I mean, it's not a big area, but you can put a couple more things. I have a Tamrac Aero 80 photo laptop backpack, which I love. Now, this is a little bit beefier. It's like a full-size backpack. It's heavy, it's fully loaded, and I've got a body with a lens attached. I've got a 70 to 300 in there, a couple lens hoods, flash, and then I can put my, it'll hold a 15-inch laptop, and then it's got a good size zipper compartment on the top where you can put quite a bit more stuff. There's a couple zipper pouches and expandable pouches in the top. So these are a little bit, that's a little bit more than probably what he needs, and they're not cheap. The Tenba and the Tamrac bags are a little on the pricey side, but they're really well made.
Yeah, I like the reason I say the Low Pro, just for the idea that it's low cost, number one, and it's minimalistic, and I like the idea of carrying it as a messenger over one shoulder instead of going with the backpack, which, I'm hanging on one shoulder and I end up with like this neck crick thing. But if I need more gear, I'm like the bag guy, so I have all sorts of bags instead of a bag lady. Yeah, I'm a bag guy. And so I got a lot, but it is definitely the bag for whatever you're doing. And one of the recommendations that I told him in some of these tweets back and forth was, listen, bring the gear that you want to take with you on this trip and bring it to your local camera store that has many different bags, and then go and take that gear and stick it into the bag. And then you will know right then and there which one you should buy. That's the best way to do it. It's hard to buy a bag. Yeah, it's hard to buy a bag online. I mean, because no matter what, you can see it and look at all these different 3D images and all, but when you start sticking gear in it, you really just don't know. So, my suggestion is get all of your stuff, bring it to the local camera store. They'll be happy to show you all the bags that you want to see, and then you can buy the one that actually works for you instead of, going with something that you just guess on.
I mean, and if you don't have a local photography store that has that type of equipment, because, I know my town doesn't, even a couple surrounding towns, they don't have a good photography store. I actually have to drive like 45 minutes to find a good store.
Right.
But, I love going back to the Amazon Prime. You can order from Amazon, get it in 2 days if you have Prime, and if you get it and you don't like it, you send it back.
Absolutely.
And they'll take it back, really, no questions asked. So that's another good way to do it.
Absolutely. So we have another question, and this is going to be one of those that I love so much, right?
Yeah. So Michael from Zinfandel Photography, and his Twitter handle is @ZinfandelPhoto. He asked, regarding copyright, I was curious about our rights with shots we were paid to take of people. Do we need marketing permission?
Right.
So I'm assuming he's saying that, if he was paid to take a portrait of somebody, or he was maybe doing some lifestyle photography or what have you, can he use the photo as is without permission, or does he have to ask them for permission?
Yeah. And, the answer is, who the hell knows? No, it's just such a gray area. When you deal with copyright, I look at it as 18% gray. It's like so neutral, and the higher the paid attorney is the one that wins. It's just it's terrible, but really that's the way it is. If you want to cover yourself. The best thing that you can do is let's say you're doing a portrait of someone, and you have a contract, obviously, for the work rendered. Put in there some type of stipulation that says, I'm going to use this for, I'm going to sell this to you for whatever it is, but I'm going to have the ability to use it for my, let's say, portfolio, for a contest, or for some marketing material that I'm putting together, or some type of compositing that I'm doing, or whatever, to give you that little bit of latitude of using it for something that you need to do in the future with it. Remember, copyright is funny. I mean, you own the copyright to the image, but you do not own the copyright to the likeness of the individual in the image.
Right.
So, it goes both ways. Usage rights for the individual, usage rights for yourself. I mean, obviously, when you click that shutter, you own the copyright to the image itself. But, what do they say? Cover your ass. Just get that little bit of small copy at the bottom, says, what you're going to use it for. And, some models, especially the higher paid models, they'll say, no, we need you to remove this because we don't want you to be able to do any kind of compositing with this. That means I don't want you to use me in any other setting or change me in any way. But you could use it for your portfolio. You could use it for content. You could use. So there's always that push-pull type of thing. So, you need something in a contract. That's right.
And you can't use it for something like stock photography. If they pay you to take a shot of them, you can't just go and upload it to iStock because you own the copyright to the image. Right. You don't have that model release for stock usage unless you get that signed. So that's really, you got to look at what your final usage is going to be. If you're looking to use it for your portfolio online and in your book, like a physical portfolio. If you're looking to do it in a brochure or some printed manner where you're going to be doing some mailings or something, for the most part, that's probably okay. But I agree, Joe, you got to get the signature. You got to get them to agree to it just to kind of cover your butt.
Yeah. CYA.
Yes, absolutely.
CYA. So anyways, before we go into the next listener question, and this one we kind of alluded to at the beginning of the show, that's that Nikon D800 versus the Hassi. Let's go ahead and hear from one of our sponsors.
Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer, and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener.
All right, so we're back, and we have another listener question from Anita, and it came in to you, right, Joe, on Twitter there, and her her Twitter handle is @AKNV. Nice, simple one. That's awesome.
Yeah, easy.
And she was saying, just wondering what you think of the Nikon D800. Some are comparing it to the Hasselblad.
Wow.
So,
that's a pretty good one, right? So
there's a lot there.
How do we start with that one?
Pretty open-ended.
Yeah. So Hasselblad versus the D800. So, I was thinking about this, and I'm saying, well, Hassi has they have a H4D60, a 50, a 40, and this all kind of represents the megapixels. So let's I want to kind of look at it as a 40 to close to a 40. So looking at the D800 in comparison to like an H4D40, which is a couple of years old now, I think it is now, or somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So we're kind of more, size to size, just looking at it as, face value. Number one, the Hassi, most of these medium formats, they're going to have a much bigger sensor. That's number one.
Yeah.
The bigger sensors, they require more light. That's number two. The speed of the shutter is not going to be as quick on the Hassi as it is on the Nikon. But on the Hasselblad, you're going to end up with a 16-bit color range compared to, 12, 14 or something on a Canon or a Nikon. So that's kind of
not only just those features,
value,
but also the body itself. Those Hassis are big and they're heavy.
Right.
They're significantly bigger than your standard DSLR, full frame body.
Right. And there is kind of a misnomer that, if you get a medium format, you're not going to be running and gunning with that. And that's not necessarily the case.
We did it.
We did a little experimenting on that. But just, kind of getting into the different issues here. Number one, the sensor. Just kind of get it this way. A Nikon sensor, their full frame sensor on the D800 is 33 by 44.
That's on the Hassi.
On the Hasselblad, right. Whereas on the Nikon, you're at 24 by 36. The same thing is on a Canon. So 24 by 36 is an actual full frame piece of film. That's basically it. So, but you should think about those numbers. 24 in comparison to 33, 36 compared to 44. It's a much bigger sensor. The Hasselblad just has a bigger sensor. It's medium format. Now, being that it has a bigger sensor, like we were saying, it does require more light. So the problem with that is it doesn't do well in low light situations. So, the range, just here's an idea. The range on the Hasselblad is like, let's say, 100 on up to 1600. Basically, the Hasselblad at 1600 is garbage. The Hassi really needs to sit between 100 to 200 to really produce nice stuff. Whereas the Nikon, you're going all the way up to 6400. At like 3200 on the Nikon, it's like the stuff is beautiful.
It's nice, yeah.
Yeah, so you have, you're looking at it, it's two different cameras completely. The others, the side of that too is maximum shutter speed. Maximum shutter speed on a Nikon is all the way up to like 8,000. On the Hasselblad, it's like 800. Yeah. So obviously you're not going to be doing some extremely, fast action work with the Hasselblad.
Right.
So, to compare the two is kind of difficult, but, look at the cost of the bodies alone. A Nikon D800, what is it? $3,000 or just under. Yep. The Hasselblad is like 30 grand.
30,000. Yep.
So
you get the D800 with a kit lens or something, and you get the Hassi with their quote kit lens,
right?
And you're 30 grand.
Yeah, you're basically the cost of a car. But so to compare the two is very difficult. And here's an example with lenses. I mean, people they usually know their lenses. So, like a macro lens, right, on a Nikon, you can get one for under $1,000. A macro lens on the Hassi, it's about $4,000.
Yep.
A 50 millimeter on a Nikon is like $500, let's say, for a really good one. You're looking at $4,000 on the Hassi. And then on the other side, on the really wide side, 28. Like let's say a 28 or a 35, you're looking at about $700 on a Nikon. You're looking at about 5,000 on a Hasselblad. Now, I'm telling you, the glass on these Hasselblads are heavy. They are glass lenses.
That's quality glass.
Quality.
And it's big. I mean, that 28 millimeter, geez, what was that? Like, it felt almost like it was 6 inches in diameter or some crazy thing like that. It was huge.
I mean, it is huge. But, what it produces is unbelievable. I mean, it's really beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So, there's a camera for every situation. Obviously for everything we just talked about, you're not going to take a Hasselblad and go shoot, motorcycle riders that are coming around a corner at 160. It's just not going to happen.
No.
On the other side of that, if you go and you want to blow something up the size of a wall and it's a product, let's say, I'll take the Hasselblad all day long.
Well, that's it, because we're not really looking at megapixels to megapixels. I mean, with the Nikon being around 36 and the Hasselblad being around 40, you say, okay, there's 4 megapixels difference. Yeah, megapixels are one thing, but the quality of those megapixels is entirely different.
Right.
You know, I mean, that large format sensor delivers a much higher quality image than what you're going to get out of a full frame sensor.
And like we were saying, you know, just the glass alone, you strap the $5,000 piece of glass to it, that, you know, the lens is like this big. I mean, the amount of quality light that's hitting the sensor is definitely going to be more than what you're getting out of the Nikon. The glass itself is better. It's more refined. And, you know, to talk about it is one thing, but, you know, when we did that shoot, that fashion shoot, I think it was last year. That fashion shoot, I actually shot the Hasselblad 40 megapixel, and I shot a 5D Mark II at the exact same time in comparison. And I did it all with, you know, remote flashes, because it was always the thing, you know, it was the consensus around, you know, the photo world that, oh, you know, you have a medium format, you're only going, you know, you're locked down, you're going to use a tripod because it's so heavy and so big, and, you know, you're going to be using big studio pro photo. No. So what I did is I shot the entire thing with the, you know, the H4D 40, all run and gun with just Canon strobes. You know, everything was mobile. With Pocket Wizards. Shot the whole thing like that, run and gun.
Now, so, you know, it is a big camera to run and gun with, but it can be done and it can produce phenomenal images. I mean, you know, we'll put a link in the show notes to go take a look at some of the images you created with that. But I mean, they came out beautiful. I mean, really beautiful with minimal post on those, right? I mean, you didn't really do
there's not a lot of posts. And the thing is too, is you can't see it online. But for example, for the fashion designer that this was originally for, you know, we were going to do huge poster side stuff, you know, when you go in there and pixel peep and you look at the 5D Mark II, and you take a look at the Hassi, the amount of data for the exact same shot, because I did it deliberately. I shot one, then picked up the other and shot the other. No tripod, no nothing. Everything was handheld just to try to do apples to apples. The Hasselblad there was just more there. I could blow it up, you know, 20, 30, 40% more with the Hasselblad, and still retain the sharpness. I mean, where one image from, let's say 15 feet away, you would see the arm and you'd see slight fuzz on the arm. With a Hasselblad, you'd actually see hairs, and to give you an idea. It is, you know, so, but, you know, with the 5D Mark II, with a good lens, you know, let's say $3,000 plus another 2.5, let's say $5,000 for a setup, 5,500. With the Hassi, you know, you're at $5,000 plus another. I think that one was about 25,000. So you're looking at about 30,000 kit. You know, it is different. It's a big difference. And if you have, like for me, if I'm going to be doing some high-end studio work for a client that, you know, we're going to blow this stuff up, you know, huge, that you're going to have to view it at 5 feet away. Let's say it's in a gallery. Well, I'll take the Hasselblad all day long. Now, if I was going to go do a billboard that's 60 feet long by 30 feet, well, a 5D Mark II is more than sufficient, because the pixels are going to be like this big. They're going to be the size of Coke cans. You know what I mean?
That's it. I mean, the people that use a Hasselblad are doing so for a reason, because they're doing magazine work, let's say fashion magazine work. They want the ability, the art directors that they're producing these images for want the ability to blow up and crop and manipulate all day long. You know, they'll say, yeah, shoot a full figure. All right. And then they may say, all right, well, you know, we really like that pose that she was in, but we want to crop her from, you know, mid chest up for a cover. Well, you can do that with that. You know, I mean, the resolution is there. I mean, you can go in and retouch that, you know, poor level retouching, make it look phenomenal, and that cover will look amazing.
Yeah, exactly. You know, what you just said, poor level retouching, that's exactly right. You know, a lot of these magazines, they want poor level retouching done, and the art directors will say, you know, I want as many pixels to push around as possible. And
Right.
that's it. And then that's what
Right.
you have to give them. So if that means that you have to go, if you can't afford it, go rent in, a 60 megapixel Hasselblad medium format to be able to get it. Well, that's what you need to do. If not, they're going to go to the next guy. So
Right.
just like we were saying, it's really the camera for the situation and knowing what the camera will do and what it won't do. Back to the light, forget about the speed. Obviously the Hasselblad is not going to be able to take care of the speed, but for the light, the Hasselblad does not do well, I'm telling you, with the $30,000 setup shooting at 400 ISO. It just doesn't look that great.
Right.
And that's me pixel peeping. I look at it and it's grainy. It's just not that fantastic. But now you shoot it at 50 or at 100 ISO and the thing is sick,
Yeah.
So it just needs a ton of light and it doesn't do well in the dark. It's just it.
Right.
It just doesn't shoot well.
And that's fine.
At a high ISO.
And that's fine. I mean, that's what that body is being used for. And those that need that type of resolution, that type of quality, will go out and rent a unit to use for the project. And if they do enough of that type of work, they'll go buy it.
Sure.
So in comparison, the D800 to the Hasselblad, I mean, it really is apples to oranges. I mean, there is no comparison, dollar-wise and everything. I mean, are you going to get great images? Absolutely. But you need to pick the body and the lens configuration that's going to fit your needs the best.
Right. Yeah. Comparing the two is just, you really can't. And when you see it online that, the D800 is getting close to a Hasselblad. Well, but like we said, the megapixels are not, those pixels are different quality pixels. And a Hasselblad is just going to produce higher quality pixels, no matter if there's less or more. It really just doesn't matter. You get better pixels. Bottom line.
Yeah,
So,
and even in the Hasselblad line, when you step up to the 60 megapixel,
right,
that sensor size is also getting bigger. They're not cramming an extra 20 megapixels on that same size sensor. They're actually increasing the size of the sensor.
Absolutely.
So, again, you're getting high quality images, because it's a bigger sensor.
Yeah, you're getting close to that 60. You're getting close to film size. That sensor, let me see. I had it in here. Here we go. So here you go. The H4D60. That thing is 40 by, let's say, 54.
Yep.
In comparison to 24 by 36. So you could see, I mean, you're like getting close to not quite doubling, but you're talking.
But close.
You're getting, it's a lot. It's definitely.
I mean, and that's getting close to a medium format film size, which is like 60 by 90.
Right.
So,
exactly.
I mean, you're really getting close there. And I mean, it's hard to beat that,
No. And you know what's funny? You look at some of the large, like for example, Martha Stewart, some of the big magazines, and if you look, a lot of these big companies, they're still shooting film, medium format, product shot, amazing resolution that it goes on forever. You can blow it up the size of a billboard and look at it at 10 feet away and the thing is just rock solid, and that's still film, so just like we're saying, it depends. There's a camera and there's a lens for every application. I hate when you start comparing, like we were saying, apples to oranges, because you just can't.
You can't. No, you can't. So good stuff as usual. Thanks a lot, everybody, for sending your questions in. We really appreciate it. And of course, if you have anything else that you'd like to ask us or discuss or, have us chat about for a little while on the show, definitely send us a message through Twitter. We love that. Or through our website at digitalphotographycafe.com. So, Joe, what do you think, man? Time to go?
I think it's time to run out.
Yeah. So if people want to learn more about what you're up to, where can they go to connect with you?
They can find me on the website at alluremm.com, on Twitter. That's at Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H. You can also find me on Facebook, facebook.com/AllureMM, and finally on Google+. You can go to g+jc.com.
Great, and you can keep up with me on Twitter at Trevor Current or at our other account at Current Photo. And of course, check out our website, currentphotographer.com, and facebook.com/currentphotographer.
All right, Trevor, we are gone. So anyways, listen, I'd like to thank all you
In
guys.
more ways than one.
That's right. I'd like to thank you guys for your continued support. If you enjoy the show, we encourage you to subscribe for free in iTunes. Don't forget, in iTunes, subscribe to the video also, audio and video, or via RSS, and you can have us delivered directly into your computer automatically. If you're listening on the go, fear not. Everything that we've covered in this week's show can easily be found in our show notes at our website, digitalphotographycafe.com. Once again, keep your questions and comments coming, and we'll talk to you next week.